Hey guys, just wanted to share with y'all a quick video on something that's been a great discovery for me in my journey to improve my shooting. A lot of times we as shooters tend to look at the new hotness and buy the newest red dot, the newest handgun, the newest trigger, whatever else it is. We end up spending a lot of money in the process without showing a whole lot of concrete improvement most times. For some people that's half the hobby, and by no means am I knocking those who like nice things, but I wanted to give my take on a cheap handgun upgrade that has made a big difference for me. As my subscribers know, I'm pretty heavily invested in the Glock universe. I overall love the Gen 5 Glock in almost every way, but during a class in May of this past year, I started to get frustrated with my Glock. Being May in Texas, it was hot and super humid, and as a naturally sweaty person, I found myself constantly having to shift my grip and readjust back to my sweet spot, which I do not enjoy. I could still effectively handle my Glock, but it just didn't feel like I had near as much positive control on it as I would have liked. Um, my solution that day was to take some lead-soaked dirt from the range and rub it on my hands every 15 minutes or so, but obviously that's not ideal for many reasons. This led me to look into options to improve the grip on my Glock. One of the first options that people often look at or take is hand or laser stippling. The main Glock I shoot is not owned by me, so that obviously was out as an option. I also read a lot of reviews of stippling that feels great but fades pretty quickly or looks cool. A lot of the laser stuff looks really cool, but essentially has the same level of grip as the stock handgun. Next, I look at putting some hockey tape on my grip, which definitely seemed to be the popular option at the time, and I guess still is pretty trendy, if you want to say. I wasn't super opposed to this, but to me it just didn't look super great, and it just kind of looked slapped together. I'm not opposed to trying it at some point, but I just wasn't feeling it at the time that I was looking for solutions. Lastly, I looked at adhesive grip wraps. In the Glock world, I mostly saw Handleit grips and Talon grips as the two options, and after reading some feedback on them, I went with some Handleit sandpaper grips, which you see here. All in, I had a grip coming my way for just shy of $20. Once they arrived, I got to installing them, which was a pretty straightforward process. To start with, you clean the grip thoroughly with alcohol, apply it, and then activate the adhesive with heat. I personally used a blow dryer and it worked great for the task. Immediately after install, I was impressed by the additional grip provided, but I wasn't all the way sold until my first range trip. Once I started shooting with these installed though, I was floored. My recoil control was significantly improved. I wasn't getting shifty hands when I got sweaty, and I genuinely felt locked in on my grip. So needless to say, I'm a fan of how they work for me, and within a few weeks I had ordered more for some of my other Glocks. Moving on from there, I want to describe my experience living with these. These here on this Glock 47 were installed in mid-June, so 5 or so months ago. If you decide to buy sandpaper grips like these, be forewarned, they are extremely aggressive. During my first week or two of carrying these on duty, I had a bit of rash worked up on the inside of my forearm where my arm would occasionally touch the grip of the Glock just walking as I swung my arm in stride and just in living. I also noticed that the grips were a lot more prone to scuffing up a car when I entered and exited vehicles quickly or carelessly, which isn't too much of a surprise because it's literally sandpaper on here, but it's definitely something you have to be mindful of. The aggressiveness eased a bit after a few weeks of being installed and kind of plateaued at a perfect working level for the next few months without much noticeable change. In using these, I've been really blown away by how they locked in or how locked in they felt in my hands. I've had several extended time periods at work where I have my Glock in my hand or in and out of the holster repeatedly while working something. And even while drenched in sweat, I never felt like my grip was compromised or like I was slipping and sliding, which is a far cry from my years of previous experience without these bad boys installed. I will say that these probably would not be ideal for inside the waistband carry unless you have really tough skin or are just willing to build up some calluses. Now that I'm near the 5-month mark of using these, I will say that the aggressiveness of the grip has worn down to the point where I felt like it was time for replacing. So I don't know how well y'all can see it, but a lot of the adhesive is worn down to where it's just, or rather the texture is worn down to where it's just the backer. So it's just kind of the rubber backer, which hasn't lifted or anything, but it's worn down quite a bit from when I initially installed them. The window of usefulness kind of seems a bit short at 5 months, but during that time frame, I carried this handgun every day in a duty capacity. I did dry fire practice most work days, and I took it to a lot of range days and put a lot of rounds through it. So they're still very usable, but the texture is all but gone in some of the high wear spots, and they don't have quite the feel they did when they were new. Just for comparison's sake, here are some of my other Glocks with the same sandpaper grips installed. So this is the same black sandpaper texture. This has been through a few range days, but never carried at work or anything. So before and after, if you will, this is close to new. And then I also have a new, brand new sandpaper in gray. So this is just after install. But overall, great fit and finish as far as the cut. I know they laser cut them. Everything seems to fit perfectly as long as you put it in right. Sometimes you have to lift and re-stick a little bit, but it doesn't matter until you've activated it with the heat. So really impressed in that department. Let's see, where was I? Oh yeah, to circle back to the reason I made the video, obviously I think that this is without a doubt the best mod, if you want to call it that you can make to a stock Glock. Even with regular replacement every 6 months or so, they're still extremely cost effective. And you're probably not going to have to do that unless you're using them hard or working with them every single day. To me, they've unlocked about the same amount of improvement as my Radian Ramjet and Afterburner did. And obviously there's a big difference in price. I can probably buy about 10 years worth of grips for the cost of one Ramjet. I did recently buy a pair of the Extreme Handleit grips. They're not installed yet on anything. I'm probably going to replace these worn ones with the Extreme texture, and we'll see if that lives up to my experiences with the sandpaper, and I'll update y'all if anything's wildly different for better or worse. For my subs, thank you guys for subbing. I have some more M&P content on the horizon, as well as discussion on my experiences suppressing the AR-15. So if any of that interests you and you aren't subbed, be sure to do so. And as always, let me know if y'all have any questions or comments. Have a great day.